Hello, I'm Maggie Waits. I'm from Vicksburg, Mississippi. I attend Texas A&M University Commerce. I decided to research how Hurricane Katrina affected literacy in Mississippi and in other parts of the South. According to Deborah Brandt, the definition of a literacy sponsor is any agent, local or distant, concrete or abstract, who enable, support, teach, model, as well as recruit, regulate, suppress, or withhold literacy and gain advantage by it in some way. Hurricane Katrina hit on August 29, 2005, killing almost 2,000 people in Louisiana and Mississippi. Through my research, I found that many works of art were inspired by the storm. One of these works of art was actually a book called Katrina, Mississippi Women Remember. This book is about many different accounts of women that were involved with the Hurricane Katrina. Most of these women actually lived where the storm hit on the coast and survived. However, some of these women were volunteer workers that spent months living on the coast forming bonds with the locals. These accounts of the women show how their lives changed because of the storm. This book proves that Hurricane Katrina was a literacy sponsor because this book was written and inspired by the storm. If this storm never would have happened, the book never would have been written. The accounts of all the women would have been lost forever. When Hurricane Katrina hit in 2005, most of the media went to New Orleans because of the levees breaking. However, Mississippi was hit harder than any other part of the nation. Two Mississippi women were inspired to show the world the devastation of their home state. These two artists were Melody Golding and H.C. Porter. Stacy Waits is a native of Vicksburg, Mississippi. She volunteered months of her time on the coast after Hurricane Katrina, volunteering her time and making bonds with the locals. Stacy is also highlighted in the book Katrina, Mississippi Women Remember, as she tells a story of how she came across a little girl, and this little girl changed her life forever. Why did you volunteer so much of your time on the coast of Mississippi after Hurricane Katrina?
I was sent to the Mississippi Gulf Coast 3 days after Hurricane Katrina by the First Presbyterian Church of Vicksburg, Mississippi. I was first to locate the pastor of the First Presbyterian Church of Bay St. Louis. No one had heard from him since the storm 3 days earlier. Second of all, I was to assist him in any way possible in helping with the needs of his congregation.
What was your expectation of what you were getting yourself into when you left to volunteer on the coast?
When I left my hometown, I thought I was going to be gone a couple days. I even thought I might see a little destruction or maybe even help a few people. But when I arrived there, what I saw was total destruction, total devastation, and looks of fear on people's faces. Everyone had a need. Everyone had lost something. Everyone was grieving. No words could describe what you saw when you drove onto the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
How was literacy personally affected in your life because of Hurricane Katrina?
When I would come home, people would ask me questions about what it was like on the Gulf Coast and what the people were going through. There were no words to describe this. There's no article, there's no book that's been written about the storm that could describe what people had gone through. One thing that I felt like was a really good literary work that was sent to me post-Hurricane Katrina was this picture of the hurricane. This is actually Hurricane Katrina taken as an aerial shot, but what it tells you is thousands of stories of people's lives, people's devastation, the loss that people experienced. This picture is made up of individual pictures of devastation around just the Mississippi Gulf Coast. It was sent to me by one of the counties as a gift for coming down to help out after Hurricane Katrina. And when I first opened it, I thought it was just a picture of the storm, which was real emotional for me. But when I really started looking at it and realized that it was individual pictures made to make the whole storm as the big picture, and the little bitty pictures told such a story. No book could ever describe that. No words could ever describe that. This picture is so important to so many people because it has people's lives and the destruction that people experience.
Kristen and Darilyn Bodwin are mother and daughter from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Their house became a shelter for family members during the storm. Kristen was 10 years old at the time of Hurricane Katrina. Do you think the hurricane affected literacy in a positive way, and why?
I also think that it has helped the literacy as well because it provided people with a chance to start over. Many people had to move and relocate, and that meant moving children to different schools. These schools could have been better than the ones they were before. So it provided them with a better opportunity to grow as an individual.
Do you think that Hurricane Katrina affected literacy in a negative way? Why?
Yes, because after the hurricane, we had an influx of kids coming to live in our community. This caused the teacher-student ratio to increase, not allowing the students to amounts of one-on-one time they had prior to the storm.
I was able to connect Hurricane Katrina being a literacy sponsor to Deborah Brandt's book, Literacy in American Lives. In Chapter 4, it discusses how discrimination was a negative literacy sponsor to the African Americans. It takes the reader down the journey of 4 generations of one family. It talks about how family responsibility either pushed or inhibited literacy. This is relative to my research paper because both a hurricane and discrimination are examples of how something uncontrollable can influence people's literacy journey. New forms of communication were made because of the hurricane. Wood and spray paint became the method of choice. X's were painted on the doors of houses with the number of deaths on it that happened in that household. Wood with phone numbers were put in front of most houses so people were able to keep in touch with others. This is also how the Coast Guard was able to communicate, and insurance companies. In conclusion, Hurricane Katrina was a negative literacy sponsor because of the length of time schools and jobs were not up and running. However, as a whole, the hurricane was a positive literacy sponsor because of 1, the amount of artwork that it produced, and 2, because many people believe the school systems came back stronger than they were before the storm. I wanted to write about Hurricane Katrina because of the impact it made on my life when I was little. I spent many weekends down on the coast helping clean up. I made many strong bonds with locals that I will never forget. I was able to see how Hurricane Katrina affected people firsthand, and I wanted to be able to share a little part of my past with my new Texas family.